Hello everyone, this is Javamonk, and welcome to episode 85 of the Survival Series. So, this episode is going to be partially Q&A and partially working on some farms that are still incomplete. So, before we get started with the episode, it's time for poetry, brought to you by Droppers. A haiku for this episode is, haikus are funny, and That's odd. Haikus are funny. There is a bot for haikus, and haikus confused. Wow, okay. That's very interesting. Talking only about haikus. And now, the limerick. And our limerick for this episode is, a painter who lived in Great Britain and yelled, "I don't have a clue." Blank. A can. I'd rather have ears than a nose. Okay, that also made no sense. One of these days, these haikus and limericks would actually make sense. And I think all the blank ones have now been dispensed. Yep, there's only three pieces of paper that say blank. So there we go. We're not gonna get blank haikus or blank limericks anymore. So the first thing that should be done is to complete this wither skeleton farm. See, I built all this nether brick stuff and the daylight sensors, but I never put in a drop chute for the wither skeletons that I end up attracting. So, here's what I have, and by the way, scaffolding is an absolute dream come true. So, here we go. I'm attempting to get this wither skeleton to walk into this area. So, I might have to do something like this. Very risky, but certainly worth it. Yoo-hoo! Mr. Wither Skeleton. I guess that's preventing him from moving. Hello? Yo. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries. That usually gets them going. Or maybe I miscalculated the size of wither skeletons. Okay, the wither skeleton drop-off chute is now built up, so this is the first test. I got like 4 wither skeletons here, and the idea is they climb up the stairs and drop down below to this layer down there. So let's see. Will they actually do that? Oh, come on. What in the world? These are open trapdoors. Very well. Fishing rod time. Okay, there we go. Yeah, this isn't working all that well. Yeah, okay, that farm is really dangerous to use. But I did get a wither skeleton skull out of it, so I guess it works. So here we are. I'm building a bamboo farm underground over here because I figured it'd be a good idea to just have a direct hopper pipeline to go directly into the chest for the bamboo. And this way I don't have to mess with the item sorters or anything like that. And the reason I'm building a bamboo farm that's super large like this is because this bamboo farm up in the mansion is not going to be fast enough for what I want to do. I want a bamboo farm that's so fast that I can get scaffolding within seconds and replace all the fuel in all of my furnaces with bamboo. So, I think that's a worthy goal. So I've now planted all the bamboo, and I've built up that flying machine right there. Its job is to kind of sweep back and forth along this whole grid of bamboo and cut down all the bamboo. And the way it's actually going to be activated is with these observers up here. So, as you could hopefully hear there, a trapdoor flipped up and down. That would send the flying machine back. And when the flying machine comes flying back, it's going to cut down all of this bamboo, and it'll all end up on the dirt. So next up, the challenge is to construct a kind of hopper minecart system to collect all that bamboo. And that is going to be activated also when the flying machines get activated. Man, old habits die very slowly. Yeah, I was just pillaring up with stone even though I literally have scaffolding in my inventory. And I'm literally standing in a field of bamboo. Seriously, what in the world? Thinking about the bamboo farm, there's two different places where the flying machine could be. And so I have two different observers basically activating the flying machine. Which means I have two different places where eventually the hopper minecarts are going to be activated. This is a bunch of different lines of hopper minecarts because, quite simply, one hopper minecart cannot pick up all the bamboo that the farm produces. So, right here what I have is a two-way repeater. And this is actually a really, really cool design. So, if something gets activated over here, the signal travels all the way along here. Or not. Oh, right. Duh. There needs to be a comparator right here. That's why. There we go. So, the way this works is by exploiting some clever comparator mechanics. So essentially, the redstone line comes into this comparator here, which this repeater outputs a signal strength of 15. By the time that signal strength reaches over to this comparator over here, it's weaker than the one to the side. At least, so when the comparator is in compare mode, it won't turn on because this side signal is stronger than the one behind it. I don't really understand how comparators work, but this I kind of sort of do understand. And then the redstone line just continues on powering all these rails. So this rail here is a bit troublesome, so I have observers activating it. Nice and simple. So then from the other side, this redstone line, all the powered rails are powered in a similar way, except with this comparator instead. So this redstone line comes over into this comparator, which makes a signal strength of 15. By the time it gets around to the back of this comparator, it's too weak to overpower the side one. So there we go. A two-way repeater that doesn't interfere with itself. Okay, I was seriously dreading putting in all these railroads because I'm not about to dig up this dirt. I was planning on doing the elytra trick where if you're flying with an elytra, you duck down into a size of one block. So you can duck underneath blocks like this. Only issue is the blocks tend to push you out. So, and also elytra durability is a thing. Except I don't need to do that because of this. Yeah, I'm crawling. Thanks to the use of a trapdoor. So, it turns out not only can you shift sneak underneath slabs, you can also duck underneath trapdoors, or turn into the size of one block using nothing but a trapdoor. So I'm going to use this to build the railways for the hopper minecarts. So here I am, smelting away some iron in the brand new blast furnace, and I just had a thought. Iron. This is a resource that I have not yet farmed. And the reason why I have not farmed this is because iron farms are absolutely ginormous. And quite honestly, I wanted to make my own design for an iron farm. The thing is, the design I was actually designing, well, it's broken at this point. Like, completely broken. Like, cannot ever work ever again as of update 1.14. So, that's kind of puts me in a bit of a odd position. So, oh, and by the way, I, I've kind of decided that instead of doing a Q&A time lapse, because quite honestly, putting music in time lapse is much more fun. Also, I have a better place to put a Q&A. I'm instead going to take you on a little tour of kind of my journey through iron farms. Because, well, at this point, the iron farm I was designing cannot ever work, so I might as well show it to you guys. Also, this video is really, really short, and I needed a way to fill some time. So my journey with iron farms starts way back in update 1.7, when, well, update 1.7 is when I started playing Minecraft. And in fact, the reason I even continued playing Minecraft was because I discovered Tangotech's Iron Trench. So that's also kind of where I learned how to do redstone, was studying that thing all the way through, every single piece of redstone dust, and every placement of that redstone dust. I studied every single bit of that farm. So, update 1.8 rolled around, I switched on one of the iron trenches that I built, and it didn't work. So I went, huh, iron farms must have broken. I checked YouTube, and yes indeed, it did break. What replaced the iron trench was the Iron Towers farm, developed by, I believe it was Panda4994. There will be a correction on the screen if I'm wrong about that. Now, this farm was an absolute pain to build, so I decided, hey, why not I try to build an iron farm in update 1.8? After all, new mechanics, new people can jump in and develop new farms. So, without doing any research at all whatsoever, I studied the Iron Titan, also developed by Tangotech, and then tried to figure out a way to make it redstone compatible. Just like the Iron Trench made village rebuilding process redstone compatible, I tried making the Iron Titan redstone compatible. Yeah, that did not work in the slightest. So, this is the first iron farm I've ever developed. So, I pretty much just jumped straight in, built up a bunch of doors, and then built up some redstone to try to control those doors, and it all worked pretty beautifully if I had actually done the research in the village mechanics, because I then pressed the button to switch it all on, and no golem spawned. And at that point, I basically rage quitted with iron farms, and I didn't even touch an iron farm, or even look at an iron farm for like a year afterwards. So, this here is the first iron farm, and yeah, the redstone is actually somewhat simplistic, but also horrendously complicated at the same time, somehow. So, yeah, I basically have AND gates running with humongous hopper lines, villagers jumping up and down. It's a pretty crazy system. And it's a two-wing design, so essentially the idea was I have a zillion villages all lined up in one line here. As many villages as I wanted to. So here I have 64 villages that would have been built up. And then one by one, those villages would be carried over into this structure here, which very much mimics the structure of the Iron Titan. And that would essentially make the one-door villages over on this wing into 22-door villages, which would spawn golems. And I'd have like 64 villages all lined up in one row. And then later on, maybe I could expand it to have 256 villages. It was a pretty neat design. And yeah, I pressed the button, it totally failed. Did not work. Well, the redstone worked beautifully. It was relatively flawless. Except no golem spawned. So yeah, at that point, After a year of rage quitting from all iron farms, I decided to have a go again. And this time I decided, why not, instead of figuring out the mechanics first, the redstone first, why not try to figure out the village mechanics first? So, yeah, this is where my journey continued and stopped artificially because of update 1.14. So here I am in update 1.12. Why 1.12? Well, because this is where I could do actual village building and testing. So, how was I going to do that? I downloaded a mod. Boom. The button B essentially pops up a whole bunch of these dots, which would kind of show how large the village was, how many doors it had, and also, and more importantly, where each village was. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay, so this here is a little collection of villages, and I built up a string of, how many? That's 7 villages, or maybe 8 villages, all in one row like this. And I've been working for the last, kind of on and off, for about a year, trying to figure out how to get these doors, turn the 1-door villages into 22 door villages. So I tried Iron Titan based designs. I've tried this is my latest attempt at Iron Trench based design, and where this is kind of the door structure of the Iron Trench, and I have succeeded in spawning 1 golem. And that's because, very, very briefly, I had 1 village be capable of spawning 1 golem. But I have not succeeded in chaining together a bunch of village spawnable villages in a straight line. I'm not sure if that's even possible. And now I know for sure, as of update 1.14, it is impossible. So here we are. This is the state of iron farms for me, as in, iron farms are no longer possible based on the way I was designing things. So that is a quick journey. Oh, skin isn't working. That is a quick journey through me and iron farms. They started my redstone career, and I officially resign from designing iron farms. At least with this kind of design. I might still work on 1.14 iron farms, but that might come much, much later. But for now, I hereby give up on this redstone project, which, for the record, is the only major redstone project that I have ever given up on. Well, that kind of stinks. So I just built up DarkM77's iron farm that's specifically built for update 1.14. There's just one problem. It doesn't work. I've built it up. I've been sitting here for 3 daylight cycles. I don't normally allow daylight cycles in my test worlds, specifically because of all these mobs. But it turns out this farm doesn't work. And also, these villagers can't figure out what a bed is. So, yeah. I'm still going to leave the video link in the description, because chances are you guys will find a way to make this scene work. But I have not figured that out. So, I guess, new plan. So since building an iron farm is not really going to be possible on this world, not yet anyways, I'm instead bringing you a view from the camera account of the bamboo farm in action. So here's what I have set up. This flying machine's going to sweep back and forth, and this observer is going to send off these hopper minecarts when the flying machine actually reaches the individual stations. This way I don't have hopper minecarts going back and forth and lagging this world to pieces. So, yeah. I also added a glowstone ceiling so that all this bamboo would actually grow. And over here, I have the two-way repeaters. And in the place where there's trouble with the hopper minecart, I just have this hopper minecart doing twice as much work. So the hopper line has now also been directly connected to the chest. No item sorters required, none of that. It just goes directly into the hopper line for this, because only bamboo is going to go through that hopper line. So I think, so let's see. We built a bamboo farm, and we also, worked on an extremely dangerous wither skeleton farm, which is very, very manual. So there we go. I think we can end this episode with a time lapse of this bamboo farm in action. So thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please let me know, and I'll see you next video.